Hello and welcome back to In Defense of a Movie Podcast. Welcome to December. My name's Dan. Joining me as always is Aaron.
Merry Christmas.
And it's time for some jury duty. Aaron, happy holidays to you, sir.
Yes, and happy holidays to you as well, Dan.
At the time of recording this, it is December 4th, a Wednesday. I hope you guys enjoyed our last episode, which was Scooby-Doo, if I'm not mistaken.
What a great movie that was.
Yeah, we got a lot of holiday festive stuff coming down the pipe. Kind of like we did for Halloween, we're going to lean hard into the Christmas content and try to keep our podcast, I guess, a little seasonal, a little topical. We like doing that kind of thing. So
yeah, it's a lot of fun when you follow the seasons or the events or whatever is happening.
Yeah. So, Aaron,
yes,
what have you been watching lately?
Well, I went out and I saw Gladiator 2 by your favorite director there, Ridley Scott.
I put you in the ring, you fight or you die.
Strength and honor.
Strength and honor.
It's ferociously entertaining. The odds are against you.
The odds are always against me.
This is what movies were made for.
The one director that I like to screenshot horrible quotes from and then send them to you.
Yeah.
Say, see?
But you know what? I'm sure any of you out there who have already seen Gladiator 2, is it worth seeing in the theater? I would say so. It is like a big, spectacular movie. But where I would kind of say that this movie falls short is that it's not really anything original. Yeah, I would say it's kind of like a love letter to the Gladiator franchise. That's how I would describe this movie, where it's just a lot of like fan service. And for the people who are such big fans of the first Gladiator, it does continue the story a little bit. So it picks off it. Well, it doesn't pick up where the other one left off, but there are reoccurring characters. Like the sister is in it. I don't want to give too much away for those who haven't seen it, but yeah. I don't know. It was a little bit predictable, where you can kind of see the plot unfolding before it actually happens, and you know what I mean, where you're kind of like, okay, like this is probably what's going to happen next. The other thing that I noticed about this movie too is because I watched the first Gladiator not too long before this one, and when I was watching Gladiator 2, for the first like, I want to say maybe 20 minutes, I was just like, did they just shot for shot like remake the first movie? Sorry, I shouldn't say the first 20 minutes, but like there was definitely some scenes in Gladiator 2 that were very reminiscent of the first Gladiator.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a little bit strange in that sense, and that's why I call it a love letter to the Gladiator franchise, where it's nothing new, it's nothing that's gonna blow your socks off, but as a fan of Gladiator, you're gonna like watching it. If you like, Colosseum fights, if you're a fan of Rome and history, things like that, you're gonna like this movie. But like I said, just don't get your expectations up too high.
It's interesting calling Gladiator a franchise at this point, but Ridley Scott, he did say that there's going to be a third one. So.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, apparently he's got plans for a third one. I have a real soft spot about the first Gladiator. I really like that film, and I'm pretty sure it was one of, if not the first DVD that our family ever bought when we brought our DVD machine home.
Yeah.
I think we got Titan AE and Gladiator at Costco with
both
our DVD
player. Great choices.
And a flat of corn dogs. This was a very big day for us. Because DVD players were not cheap back then.
No.
They were very, very expensive. And so we finally got one, and we made corn dogs and did a double feature, and it was just spectacular. So
that's pretty cool, though, that you can remember the first DVD you guys bought, because I feel that a lot of people out there can't. Like, I can't tell you the first DVD I bought.
It was such a defining moment because we were pretty poor. So when that DVD player came home, it felt like we were like living in the lap of luxury for a while.
Very cool.
Kind of quaint looking back on it now with streaming and everything at your fingertips. But at the time, man, that was cutting edge. And seeing Gladiator at home was just, Such a big movie for the time. So, yeah, the trailers really gave me the impression that it was kind of beat for beat the first movie, but I haven't seen it yet, so I'm sure there's a little bit of difference. But.
Yeah, more or less. The main character in the movie almost goes through the exact story arc that Russell Crowe's character went through. Where he gets enslaved, then raised up to become a gladiator, then starts fighting in the Colosseum. So. At one point he's wearing the same armor kind of thing. So it's just like there's a lot. Like it's not too different from the first movie. But yeah, still worth a watch.
Nice.
Maybe not in theaters. Maybe when it's available for streaming. But still worth a watch. What about you, Dan? Have you been watching anything lately?
Yeah. So in the spirit of Christmas, I got some Christmas picks for you guys.
Oh, sick.
And by picks, I mean maybe one of them. The first movie I want to talk about is Dear Santa.
Every Christmas, something magical happens.
Dear Santa.
When a kid sends a letter to Santa. But Liam...
To Santa.
...is a crappy speller.
This looks like fun.
Oh, that's putrid.
Thank you.
What do you want?
You summoned me.
Not what I expected.
What'd you expect?
In the movies, the reindeer usually have the antlers, not you.
Kid, are you high?
I'm ready for dinner.
You lucked out big time, so I'm way better than Santa. Ho, ho, frickin' ho. You, my friend, are getting 3 wishes.
You mean like a genie?
They stole that from me. By the way, after you make your wishes, I'm taking your soul.
What?
You ain't never had a friend like me. Okay, that I may have stolen from Aladdin.
So, Dear Santa...
Like Santa is a deer?
I wish. That probably would have been better than what this was. It stars Jack Black as Satan.
Okay.
And this kid named Robert Timothy Smith. He plays this kid named Liam Turner. And Liam has a pretty rough childhood. No one really likes him. His parents are just the worst parents ever committed to film.
Oh, wow.
He's got some family tragedy that I won't spoil as well. So he gets the idea he's going to write a letter to Santa. But the only problem is that he's dyslexic. He has a learning disability. So he accidentally addresses his letter to Satan. And so his letter goes down into hell, and who should receive it but Jack Black himself. And so he decides he's going to go mess with this kid and essentially do the old genie thing where he's going to grant him 3 wishes. And if he does all 3 wishes, then the devil gets his soul. It's kind of like a contract thing. And most of the movie is focused around him attending a Post Malone concert with his childhood crush. And honestly, Aaron, this was probably one of the worst movies I've seen in the last year or two. I thought this was so bad on just about every level imaginable. His parents are just the worst. Not just bad acting, but just like the worst, least believable couple I've ever seen. The tone of the movie is so scattered and all over the place. Jack Black is kind of sleepwalking his way through it, just kind of doing his Bowser voice and, wearing whatever costumes. And the kid actors are not great. It's, I was watching this and I'm just like, what is this? I mean, the trailer didn't look great, but let me tell you, the movie's not much better. Unfortunately, it does have a little bit of a twist to it. If you plan on watching it, I won't spoil it. But Dear Santa, my goodness, man.
Pretty much anything with Jack Black in it, I want to watch it. So there's a good chance that I will end up watching it.
All right, well, I won't spoil the twist, because there is a twist. And it's a nice little twist. The movie does have a little bit of heart at the end, as Christmas movies do. But I'm telling you, I'm a little bit, I don't know. I feel like, I'm going to say something kind of controversial. I feel like we might be witnessing the fall of Jack Black. I'm going to be totally honest with you.
Really? What year? Sorry, when did this movie come out?
This year.
Oh, okay.
Between this and that Minecraft upcoming movie and his fallout with Tenacious D because of what Kyle Gass said on stage.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I feel like as career-wise, Jack Black is, he's such an icon, especially for our generation. He's done so many good films. But I am legitimately getting the sense right now that there's trouble in paradise.
I hope that you're wrong, just because I am such a Jack Black fan. But I can see where you're coming from.
This movie's not going to do him any favors. It could probably be a future episode if it wasn't so awful.
Maybe we need a Nacho Libre 2 to redeem himself.
That's exactly my thoughts.
That's the only thing that can bring him back.
Yeah, I really feel like it because, coming from a podcast that watches bad films on purpose, this really felt like a piece of junk. And I'm just so shocked at how bad it was and how anyway, just really shockingly bad. So I don't recommend it.
So, Dan, I know I texted you about this show called Pantheon. Did you get a chance to check it out at all?
The true breakthrough will come not when we create an artificial intelligence that can think, but one that can feel.
I think Logarithms faked my dad's death and is holding him hostage.
Logarithms? The microchip company?
I heard they're testing a program to upload human brains.
Why expand machine intelligence when we've got the best operating system right here?
This is dangerous tech. You don't want to play with it.
Hi, kiddo.
Dad.
I want to show you something.
Not yet. I've been knee-deep in Christmas movies.
That's fair. This show, it is a animated show, much to the style of, Invincible. So if you're wondering what type of animation it is, it's somewhere along the lines of that. The first season is on Netflix for us Canadians. I'm not sure about you Americans there, but in Canada, you can find the first season on Netflix. And the second season is currently all available on YouTube. So you can check it out. Currently only 2 seasons.
On YouTube?
Yeah, on YouTube. So that's where I found the second season. The first season released in 2022, and the third season came out in 2023. And I'm a little bit sad. Well, I'm not sad, but I'm surprised that this show went under the radar for me because it has everything I like in a show.
When the internet comes back online, so do the other UIs and more past them. It doesn't matter how fast they burn out, they can still burn us all down.
Who told you this?
The only thing that can stop a UI is another UI. One that doesn't have this flaw.
They're curious why you're letting an 18-year-old run the show. What do you think they'd say if they knew he was a clone of Stephen Hallstrom?
Hallstrom died 20 years ago. This is a trick.
Try to keep an open mind. Literally.
So a little bit of the premise, they find a way to upload human brains into UI, so your brain would be uploaded to a computer or whatever. So that's the general premise of the show, but the show is so much more deeper than that. It goes through philosophical debates of what humanity could look like, what it would be like if this technology became available to people, what the outcry and panic that would come from the general population, some of the drawbacks and stuff that would come along with doing it, with having a UI. But then it also goes into, the second season goes into, what if we did accept it, What if we were willing to upload our brains into this, digital world? And I don't want to give too much away because this is definitely one of these shows where you have to just watch and, see it unfold. But the ending of this show had me kind of scratching my head a little bit, trying to make sense of it. But it's got AI, UI, robots. At some point, it felt a little bit Terminator. It kind of felt like that. Okay. There's a little bit of time travel, and like I said, if you're kind of into that science fiction and debating, whether our world is a simulation or if it's real, just sort of stuff like that. This show is for you. Each season is 8 episodes, and they're about 45 minutes long.
Oh, nice.
Each episode, I was holding on to my seat watching because it was just so actually riveting from start to finish.
Oh.
Yeah, the second season is a little bit different from the first season, but I think it's intentionally done that way because the first season kind of follows a more like human take, and then the second season kind of follows a more like machine or robotic kind of take. So yeah, like I said, if you were sleeping on the show, you got to go watch it right now. If you're into science fiction, you will thank me if you haven't already watched it.
Oh, I'm excited. I hadn't heard of it till you mentioned it to me, and I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, no, that's what I said to you, Dad. This is like right in our wheelhouse here of things that we like. This show has it all.
Awesome.
And it's very, very well written as well. I would say that. Like the concepts that they're bringing up in here, I was like, like I need to actually, like, you know, you're going to bed and then this show pops up in your head and you start questioning your reality. So it's kind of one of those shows, you know?
Yeah, just staring up at the ceiling.
Who am I?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, you ready for another Christmas movie?
Yeah.
Okay, so just a couple days ago, I was looking at the old Disney Plus. I was actually checking to see if that Skeleton Crew show was out yet.
Okay.
And I stumbled across a new Ben Stiller movie called Nutcrackers.
I'm with Family Services. With Christmas in 3 weeks, we have very limited options.
Okay, so what does that mean?
So just look after them until I can find them a foster home.
Hey, dudes. It's Uncle Michael. Remember me? Your mom's big brother. I'm here now to look after you, get you guys hooked up with a family.
I farted. He farted.
Oh, come on.
No piece of poop.
Where's in your cell phone reception?
Got the sticks, homie.
You get service in the middle of the pond?
Oh, wait a minute! I got something! I got a bar! I got
I want chicken.
Fresh chicken.
Oh, no, we're not gonna do fresh chicken.
We'll take it from here.
That's Elizabeth.
You said her name was Elizabeth?
Delicious.
It just came out this year, and this is kind of the polar opposite of Dear Santa for me, where this was actually probably honestly one of my favorite new holiday films, maybe like ever.
Okay.
Which is crazy because I went and looked at the critical rating on Rotten Tomatoes and it actually sits at 34%. So I'm in the minority here, but there's this genre of film where movies like, say, you know, Little Miss Sunshine, The Way, Way Back, Down in Real Life, maybe even Secret Life of Walter Mitty kind of fall into, where they're like dramedies and they're kind of like the journey's a little more important than the destination. And, you know, like they're kind of slow character movies, but they're also got a lot of heart. So I went into this blind. I didn't know what it was about. And essentially in the movie, Ben Stiller is this hotshot, like commercial real estate developer from Boston. His sister and her husband, they die in this car accident. And they leave behind these 4 boys. And Ben Stiller basically has to go take care of them for the weekend while this lady who runs the foster program is trying to find a home for them, to rehome them all. Mm-hmm. Of course, Ben Stiller, you know, he has a project deadline, and these kids are really maladjusted because they're dealing with the death of their parents, and they're crazy wild. They live on an active ranch, so there's farm animals everywhere. You know, they've been just going nuts. No one wants to take them in because they are such a crazy group of kids. So you can kind of see the plot coming from a mile away. Like, I will say off the top, this is very formulaic and very predictable. But at the same time, I feel like the way it's executed and just the pacing of it, let me tell you, man, this movie, the ending of this movie made me weep like a baby.
Oh, wow.
And I don't often do that in films, but something about this movie just hit a nerve with me. Like, it connected with me in my childhood, the way I grew up.
Yeah.
His sister essentially was going to be like a dancer, and she got involved with this guy who was like in this cult or whatever. And so like he kind of took them off the grid, and they live in this like ranchy style house, and like, you know, he was like an ice cream man, and you know, like a really hippy dippy type. So even though you could see where it was going like a mile away, it still hit with such force. And man, I gotta tell you, I know it's not doing well critically at all, and I don't really care. I'm putting my stamp on this movie because I just loved this damn film. This is one of the better films I've seen in a while, to be honest with you. The kid actors were fantastic. They each have their own little like arc and story and depth, and they're funny.
What's that movie with Steve Carell where he has like the 3 daughters or whatever? That's what this movie kind of is giving me.
Yeah,
those vibes.
absolutely. This movie has Linda Cardellini in it, who was Velma in the Scooby-Doo movie, and she plays the lady that works for the foster company who's trying to rehome these kids.
Mm-hmm.
Edie Patterson from Righteous Gemstones is in it, and Tim Heidecker's in it as well, briefly.
Oh,
and
sick.
so it's funny, but it's got that dramedy flavor. Like Ben Stiller is being kind of unlikable, but he's still Ben Stiller. You can't help but like the guy. Anyway, it's not for everyone, obviously, if you look at the critical rating. But for instance, if you like The Way, Way Back or Dan in Real Life, you will love this film. I just like, it feels like a throwback film to like those early 2000s indie dramedies that everyone did for a while.
Okay, yeah, no, it sounds very interesting. This one I might also give a watch.
Yeah, I won't spoil anything about it or where it goes, but suffice to say, it's not, the only thing that's surprising about it is how much it just guts you at the end. Just rips your guts out in a great way. So,
well, that's probably not a bad thing, right? Because one trope of Christmas movies is that it's completely chaotic, but in the last 20 minutes of the movie, everyone comes together and like reconciles, right? So it's kind of refreshing to hear that this movie didn't have one of those, Christmas story endings.
Well, it is and it isn't. Like, you'll see what I mean when you watch it. But it's a little bit open-ended. But you kind of, it was such a, here's a 10-cent word. It was such a juxtaposition going from Dear Santa to Nutcrackers, where one felt like a hollow Hollywood piece of junk, and then this one felt like an indie dramedy that was maybe 10 years too late, maybe even 20 years too late. And I was like, damn, man, this is good stuff. This is old-fashioned. So anyway, a full-throated recommendation from me.
Okay.
Yeah. I got one more thing to talk about. Have you watched the 2-episode premiere of Star Wars Skeleton Crew?
I found something buried in the woods. What do you think it is? Don't touch anything. What did you do? We're lost. Really lost. Stay together. We just need some directions home.
Come on, kid. Pay up. Whoa. Where'd you two find an old Republic credit?
Help!
Over here, quick. I'll get you home. We'll make a partnership. But we have to move fast. I need you to take the controls.
Okay. Neil?
I have not. And I'm actually very excited to hear your opinion of it because, I don't know, I'm in this... We've talked about it a little bit before on the podcast here, but I'm really on the fence about whether I can continue watching, Disney era Star Wars. So I'm at the point where I'm ready to boycott anything just because that franchise and what they're making, I feel like is no longer for my generation. So I've kind of just been like, why am I gonna keep getting my hopes up? But with that being said, I know nothing about it, and I would love to hear your opinions on it, whether it should be something I check out or not.
So this show, I was really curious about it because it was giving off the 80s vibes, and one of the films I watched growing up a lot, for whatever reason, was Ewoks Battle for Endor, Battle of Endor.
Okay.
I really like dark fantasy, like Willow and stuff like that. So I took a chance and watched the 2-episode premiere, and it's fine. It didn't really move the needle for me. I think it wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination, but it just felt like I was just kind of watching more content. You know what I mean? It didn't really... The child actors were great, but it kind of... I'm torn because my first question was, okay, who is this for? Because it is violent. Like, you can't watch this with a young kid. Like, people are getting shot Star Wars style, like cut up. Like, like there's pirates, right? And they're acting like pirates in this show. And basically the plot so far, very, very briefly anyway, these kids, they find a buried spaceship and it autopilots them off into space, and they hit hyperspace, and suddenly they're miles and light years away from home. They're lost, and there seems to be some mystery surrounding their home world because nobody's heard of the place where they're from, and there seems to be some sort of like barrier around their planet stopping them from coming or going, which is interesting. And the show takes place after Jedi, but before Force Awakens. So the Republic is in charge, and things are pretty peaceful, especially on their planet. It's kind of utopian in a weird way. So
that might be interesting to see.
It could be good, but right now it just feels like a pastiche of other films, other properties. It feels like Goonies. They rip off A New Hope, the opening, as the cold opening for this, with the hallway, everyone lining up and shooting at each other. It felt like Stranger Things. It feels like E.T. Like, I just feel like, I don't know, this whole franchise to me just feels like a rudderless ship. Like, no one knows what's happening with it. They're kind of just throwing mud at the wall and seeing what sticks. And this is no different, where I'm like, okay, this is fine, but like, is it enough to move the needle? Because I don't know who it's for. Yeah. And I also, I feel like it's just, again, like a collage or a love letter to better stuff that's, 80s, 90s, whatever. I thought of like Flight of the Navigator again. I thought of Goonies, Stranger Things. It's hard to escape all these comparisons. So I don't know if I'll keep watching it, but like I said, it's certainly not bad. Yeah. It's a fine show, but it just felt like that. It just felt like fine. So I don't know, man.
I think I'll have to let it maybe finish airing before kind of get the sense of it after it's finished airing. Because what was the Star Wars show that just came out? The Acolyte? Is that it? That got canceled? Yeah. So there was a lot of hype and everything around that show, and then it fizzled out. And so I don't know if this one is going to take the same road as The Acolyte, but multiple times I've called myself a content whore and stuff, and I'm trying to be a little bit more specific with the things that I give my time to, and so I think I'm going to wait a little bit more before I entertain the idea of watching.
I think that's a good call with this
new Star Wars content.
I mean, it's a great looking show. The visual effects are top notch, as you'd expect from Lucasfilm. Yeah, acting's good. Jude Law. He's not really in the, he hasn't really come into view yet, but it looks like he's going to do a good job. But yeah, I don't know. The episode length drives me nuts because the first one's close to an hour and the second one's like 27 minutes. So they're doing that annoying Star Wars show thing where they're all over the place. They just cut them wherever. And it just drives me insane. Yeah, no, I mean, it's a fine show. If you love Star Wars and if you like Disney Star Wars, this will be right up your alley. But I think for me, I might just pump the brakes on it and check in again in a few weeks or something. So
yeah, no, that's fair. And again, with anything that like the Disney era Star Wars, you got to be cautious with it all.
Honestly, the mismanagement of the Star Wars IP under Disney is like catastrophic. I can't wrap my head around some of the decisions they've made. Yeah, it's really crazy.
I don't know. I just feel that they run their entire business model is just ran on nostalgia and fan service. Once you kind of remove those two things from any of their content, and it doesn't just stop at Star Wars. Like Marvel is very much this way as well. I think I just read the other day that they're like re-editing the new Captain America movie. This is like the fourth time, because each time they've had the screeners or whatever, like, it didn't test well. So I don't know what's going on there. I think people are getting wise to it, and maybe they might be in a little bit of panic mode. And when they're in a panic mode, I feel like they go, oh, let's just make something that there's no real story, but it's just filled with lots of cool things, The Mandalorian, I feel like we got that. The Boba Fett show, we got that, where there was like very minimal plot and like 90% fan service, right? So I'm really trying not to shit on Disney anymore.
Yeah, there's enough people.
But I'm just trying to be. Yeah, exactly. I'm just trying to look at it like objectively, and right now, aside from my feelings about what they did to my Star Wars, which I loved as a child growing up. Yeah, I don't know. I digress.
Well,
I'll get off my soapbox.
No, I get it. I'm right there with you. The one outlier to me has always been Andor, and I'm legitimately excited for season 2 that comes out this year. So that's like the one Star Wars thing I care about anymore. And so if that goes sideways, I got nothing left.
That's fair.
Yeah. Well, Aaron, all that being said, do you want to announce our next episode?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
We will be reviewing Deck the Halls, starring Dan's twin, Matthew Broderick, and my twin, Danny DeVito. Just kidding. I don't look like Danny DeVito. I wish I looked like Danny DeVito.
I've been accused of looking like Will Wheaton, but never Matthew Broderick.
Will Wheaton? Really? I would say Matthew Broderick way more before Will Wheaton.
Wow. I wish. That's the nicest thing you've
Maybe
ever
like
said to
the
me.
young Will Wheaton from like Voyager.
Like a slightly more attractive Will Wheaton.
Yeah, but I could see you as a Matthew Broderick.
Oh,
like you should like for a Halloween or some sort of themed event. I feel like you should dress. You could do a killer Ferris Bueller.
I should do Inspector Gadget or Ferris Bueller.
Yeah, Ferris Bueller under the Inspector Gadget coat.
There's no way Inspector Gadget's above 50%, right? Like, we could probably do that at some time.
Oh, yeah. No, I guarantee you we could do that. And this is the second time Matthew Broderick has made it onto our podcast. So
that's true.
Matthew, if you're listening out there, we'd love to have you on.
Yeah, totally. Well, got all this holiday content coming out. I'm neck deep in holiday releases and enjoying it. Got the tree up, all that good stuff. So, yeah, I hope you join us. I hope you're having a great December. Hope you're staying safe and warm and getting your shopping done, all that good stuff. And, yeah, we're super stoked for Deck the Halls. Aaron, you got anything else?
No, that's it for me, Dan.
Great. Okay, well, we'll see you on the next episode of In Defense of a Movie Podcast.
Cool.